Thank you. I know that after hearing the very moving, very personal testimony of our sister Doa earlier and our young sister who just spoke, that you don't need me to tell you about the slaughter of innocents that's currently, as we speak, happening in Gaza and also in the West Bank. You don't need me to tell you about the enforced expulsion of Gazan residents, including the sick, the elderly, pregnant women, the injured, the babies. In fact, for many of you, it's no longer possible, for the sake of your own mental health, to look at the videos and the accounts flooding out of Israel and Gaza, a torrent of evil and human despair. But that's why we're here today, and that's why we continue to demand that our political leaders, our governments, both of them, insist on a ceasefire and no longer give any cover to the Israeli government's genocidal actions by repeating the lie that this is a proportionate response or that they are simply defending their own citizens. So I won't tell you about all of that because you know, and that's why you've been here week after week. However, I will say this. I stand here as the president of the University and College Union in Scotland. UCU is the largest trade union in post-16 education in the UK. So it's incumbent on me to tell you and others about what's happening to the academic staff and other HE workers and students in Gaza and the West Bank. As of 4 days ago, Israel has killed, and we don't know if what these numbers mean now, 427 university students and 12 academics or HE employees. 88,000 students are no longer being educated in Gaza. 138,800 students in the West Bank are no longer able to attend any of the 34 educational institutions there. 9 higher education buildings have been destroyed in Gaza and 2 in the West Bank. 555 students from Gaza were prevented from taking up scholarships abroad, and who knows when that opportunity will arise for them again, assuming they live long enough. On the 7th of November, our colleagues in Birzeit University told the world that Israeli troops had stormed, vandalised their buildings and stole their belongings. Now, I know that they, like everybody else in that hellscape, are concentrating simply on surviving. But we must not forget that when this slaughter ends, and it will end, it must end, then we must be ready to lend our voice, our political and industrial strength, and our money to all efforts to rebuild the civil structure of Gaza and the West Bank. And crucially, that includes its educational infrastructure. However, that's for another day, and I hope that day comes soon. And what I also want to tell you is that here in Scotland, in the UK, academics are being targeted by the right and by government for the heinous crime of speaking the truth about the genocide in Gaza. The UK Secretary for Science, Innovation and Technology, Michelle Donnellan, a few weeks ago intervened publicly. She published a letter on social media in the appointment of 2 academics to a UK funding body. One of those academics was the Equality Officer for UCU Scotland, Professor Kate Sang. Kate Sang is my colleague, my fellow officer, my fellow academic, and she has had a target painted on her back by a UK government minister. And for what? It was because she stated that she was disturbed. She was disturbed by the demand of the Home Secretary that the police prevent the flying of Palestinian flags. The UK Research and Innovation Body, which funds a really significant part of research in the UK, is now investigating Kate and a colleague in England who was also named. The body to which they were appointed is now suspended. We also know that dossiers have been compiled on other academics by agents of the British state because of their views on Palestine and other perfectly legitimate matters. Why should you care about that? Well, I'm going to tell you why I think you should care. Because if you shut down debate in universities, if you stop academics being funded to research areas of public interest, if you make academics fear for their livelihoods, then you'll silence debate, you'll silence truth, you'll prevent credible information that the government doesn't want the public to have being published. They say that the first casualty of war is truth, and we already know that. We already know about all of the lies that were told in the first week since 7th of October. If you do this to academics, if you do it to journalists, if you do it to other people who wish to speak the truth, and that is what is happening in the UK right now, then you cannot have a credible and united response to what's happening. And they will be allowed to carry out their murder and their enforced dispossession as they please. So my union will fight this, other unions will fight it, and I know we'll have your support in that fight in the coming months and years. But for now, the only words that need to be heard above all others is ceasefire now. On behalf of my union and our members, I join you in calling for a ceasefire now, and I pledge our support until that ceasefire is achieved. Thank you.